Hello ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to do another video on my Shulker farm design, this time with an updated version 2. So those of you who have watched my first video of this will look fairly familiar. It's the same basic concept, but I've just made some updates to it after a couple of suggestions, and then also running it myself for an even longer amount of time and seeing some kinks that should be worked out. The two main changes of this are being able to replace a shulker and the killing chamber in the Nether. So the first time around that I ran this for just about 6 hours, and everything was fine. I got a whole bunch of shulker shells. Then I ran it overnight on my server, and I got a double chest worth of shulker shells on the server. But then the shulker disappeared. Glotz from the Minecraft team was kind enough to actually look at my video with my design and give me some feedback on it. And even though I thought for sure that everything was going to be fine, like I said, the shulker still disappeared. So we reviewed the mechanics in the first video. I'm just going to quick touch on them. If a shulker hits itself with a bullet and its shell is open and there are no other shulkers within 8 blocks from it, it will teleport somewhere in a 17 by 17 cube surrounding that shulker and leave behind a new healthy shulker. With this method, this build that I have right here, the shulker can then teleport to the sides of these glass boxes, opens up, and goes through the nether portal to be removed from the area. Obviously, these walls of glass, as well as the portals, take away spawning spaces. Not spawning spaces, but teleporting spaces that the shulkers can get to. And since shulkers will check 5 times to see if they can teleport before they consider it a fail, this layout, according to some formulas that OMS did, is about 96% chance of when the shulker gets hit with his bullet, he's going to be able to find a location to teleport to. Now, while 96 is not perfect, and in fact, you could easily hit a fail chance if you hit that 4%, these shulkers have enough health that they can take several hits from several bullets. So each time that happens, you've got another 96% chance of it successfully happening. And like I said, when I ran this for 6 hours, I didn't lose a shulker. When I ran it on the server, it ran long enough that I got a double chest of shulker shells. But it's still not perfect. So first thing I wanted to add in is a way to reload the shulker if the shulker goes missing. I'm going to come over here. Just get rid of this shulker. Let's say now I come back from AFKing the farm and I look and there's no shulker there. What we can do is we have these backup shulkers, and these were created by the farm, and I'll get to that when I get onto the nether side. Is just boom. We send in a minecart. It's going to take the shulker and deposit him right into the cell. Then the minecart comes back, and because of the cactus system here, it collects itself and then shoots right back up into the top. So it's ready to go again. So here on the overworld, we're safe from shulkers. Again, just like the first model, we do have an AFK spot here that is at least 24 blocks away from those portals, because as you can see, zombie pigmen do spawn. So we want to make sure they stay out of the range where they would be persistent, and they are able to then despawn on their own. We also have another portal over here, and again, I'll get to why we have that in a bit, but then I just have some open trapdoors and some slabs here, so that if a pigman spawns here, he'll just try to walk over this and then fall into the ocean, fall out of range, and be able to despawn. So you'd want to build your AFK platform, somewhere around here. We're also still building this over the ocean, just because that way it easily gets rid of spawning spaces for the shulkers as you're transporting that initial one. There's no real reason this has to be done over an ocean, as long as nothing is within that 17 by 17 by 17 cube that surrounds the shulker here, so he can't teleport to the ground or something like that. I have moved this down, and I originally wanted to make this not a redstone dust line. However, using things like sticky pistons and redstone blocks, we're going to create more teleport spaces that the shulker could teleport to, and that's not something I wanted to have to deal with, because you can't put buttons on the side of that. So this is the on-off switch, and what that's doing, let me just go into free cam here, is it's opening or closing that trap door there and allowing these golems to spot that shulker and have them aggro on each other and get this guy to hit himself with a bullet. This right here is another one of the things that Glotz brought up when he reviewed my video. Is I originally just had one golem in there. You want to spam 24 golems in there, and the reason that is because the snowballs that the golem hits have a random trajectory. So sometimes they hit the wall, sometimes they hit the trapdoor, sometimes they hit that wall, and then the snowballs stop, which gives him a better chance of closing his shell like that. When we have 24 golems in there, they are just constantly spitting out snowballs and always aggroing this guy. I have also removed the warped buttons that were surrounding these portals and these glass panes. For some reason in my head in the first video, they had to be there. But there's really no reason for them to be there because this spot right here is outside of that range of where that Shulker can teleport to. And once he does teleport, he goes straight into the Nether anyways. So he's gone. So those are the changes to make the overworld side a little bit easier. Let's now go check out the Nether side and see what we need to do over there. So I am using the same system of using pistons on timers to push the Shulkers onto Wither Roses, have their drop fall onto the soul sand and get collected by hoppers. However, I moved the platform down to actually collect those shells so that you're not so close to where they can shoot at you. I've also added a Shulker loader. There's probably a better designed Shulker loader than this, but I really kind of wanted to do as much as I could without looking it up ahead of time. So that being said, there is still a little bit of manual input. In order to get Shulkers to the overworld, you have to come over here and press a button for the minecart. In order to reload the system, you've got to press a button to put a Shulker back into the system in the overworld. This may not be your most efficient automatic run this for days model. This is more just me wanting to see what I can build with looking up as little as possible. After I did finish this up, I did look up a couple of different models. There are some models by Cubic Meter and Cadender, and if I can find videos on those, I'll put that down in the video description. Those are more automatic systems, and so those may be more applicable if you want to do just a whole bunch of Shulkers. But as we can see from down here in the collection, we got 5 Shulker boxes filled with Shulker shells. So this system is still going to get you a bunch of Shulkers. Just may require you, well, not may, but will require that if you need to replace a Shulker, you got to do it yourself. But I've made this so that it's completely easy with the press of 2 buttons to reload. So I come over here, we press a button to grab a Shulker, put him through to the portal. As you can see, they will come through that portal and start searching for areas to teleport to. Once they find one of the locations inside here, they'll teleport to into there. That's why, once again, we have everything over here teleport-proofed with buttons on every side. And then same thing here that we reviewed earlier. Just push a button, and then it's going to send them over. Now, the reason that we have 2 portals so close together in the Nether is, I probably know, in the Nether, 1 block is equivalent to 8 blocks in the overworld, and we need to make sure that the Shulkers that we are going to send back to put into storage are not going to end up somewhere inside the farm there and either just send themselves back in or teleport to a random location. So we need to make sure that these portals are far enough apart. I am going to put a link down in the video description of a Nether portal coordinates calculator by Maximum FX, and you can use that to calculate where your portals need to be. And you're going to need to make sure that those portals line up perfectly. So you're going to want to go through this portal, make sure that you always end up inside the farm, go back, make sure that you always end up right next to the kill chamber, and then come over to this storage one, go through that one, make sure that you always end up next to the storage, go back through it, make sure that you always end up there. So you want to make sure those portals link up right. If you have your coordinates off a little bit, and that's why I've included that link to that calculator, what can happen is you can go through this one, end up here, but then go back through and end up over on the other side, or vice versa. So you got to make sure that you link up those portals correctly. Also need to make sure you do not run the overworld side with the Shulker reproducing without turning on this killing mechanism, or you're going to have Shulkers start to build up everywhere. And what I've done is I've optimized the redstone a bit here so there's no more dust there. It's now just observers and powered rails. But it's the same principle, as you can see. It's going to send those through, push them onto the Wither Roses, and then even if they teleport off, it's going to push them back on. They'll die from the Wither effect. Come down here into the Shulker loader, and then let me just break this away. And then once the Shulker is full of Shulker shells, breaks it, places a new one, and it's ready to start filling again, dumps it down into the chest. So that's my idea for the shulker farming setup. Again, like I said, if you are looking for something that is completely self-sustaining, by all means, check out those other models. This is more for me to see what I can do and help me learn more and figure out more, and I just enjoy that. And sometimes you want to build a version that someone else has already made. Sometimes you want to try and come up with something on your own. And this is what I've got. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you want to see it, there will be a link in the video description with both this world download and the Litematics for both the Overworld and the Nether side. And I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.